Okay, just a quick second video. Where the other one ended, I started talking about ministry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I just put one of these Airways chews in my mouth, so I'm trying to soften that a bit first. Yeah. Okay, with regards to ministry. I was writing something years ago called Back to Christian Basics. My understanding was my job was to bring people back to Christian basics. Now, of course, my understanding there was back to anything Bible basics. So back to where the Bible talks about men and women, what your roles are. You know, old and young, what your roles are. Talked about reverence and talked about all stuff like that. You know, that was my understanding, what I should be bringing back. Teaching people how to deal with their issues and you know, how to come to God about that sort of stuff. And all seemed pretty good. All seemed pretty righteous, pretty holy stuff, really. But, yeah, no. My understanding has changed. It's still a case of back to Christian basics, but it's a case of back to, really, John 3:16, isn't it? You know, that sort of stuff. Back to that sort of incredible basics. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. You know, so that you could be born again, so you can become a new creation and adopted into God's family. There you go. Enjoy. Basically, that's it, really. That's what you need to teach people. That's about it, really, isn't it? Yeah. Of course, you know, I mean, like recently I've done videos where God has given me pearls and I could blow people's mind with those pearls. Easy. You know, have a conversation with Christians. Oh, do you know? You know what baptism is about? Oh, blow your mind. There you go. That's not what that's about. You know, God didn't give me that to do that, did he? You know, it's not about me. And that's the point. It's not about what I think my ministry should be about. It's about eventually understanding what God is saying. How do you want me to walk? And really, the ministry is based upon how God wants you to walk and the example that that's going to set. And it's about being an example. It's not about what comes out of your mouth. It's about what comes out of your life. On a day-to-day basis. That's what it's about. Now, of course, that's going to take time to learn how to reappropriate that, because you know the way we've been doing things, the way I've been doing things, and you know, it has been according to church, according to churchy understandings, that sort of stuff. But that's not the way we should be doing things. So it's like, okay. Well, someone was talking about that and saying that he was speaking to a lady who gave her life to God. She was from Eastern Europe, but she was from a country where the church didn't have a major controlling point, certainly with people's understandings. And when he started talking to her about God and that she's now a new creation, she's now a child of God, and she's now not of this world but of his kingdom, she just went, yeah, absolutely, yeah, that's what it is. And he pointed out the problem is in the Western world we've been taught by society, by church, that there are limits. There are things you can do, things you can't do. Oh no, you can't go there, you can't go to heaven, you can't walk according to God. No, you can't do that. No. And so when we come into Christianity, we're told an incredibly watered down version of Christianity. Christianity is what? Follower of Christ. A follower of Christ. How can you be a follower of Christ if you're tied to the church? If you're tied to the understanding of church, you can't be a follower of Christ, can you? You can only be a follower of the church. And it's absolutely right. Yeah, you're a follower of the understanding that these churches are giving you. You know, they're teaching you the understanding based upon their church or their denomination. Yeah, so the Baptists will have an understanding, the Evangelicals, the Charismatics, they'll all have an understanding. Yeah. And so therefore they'll have a different understanding because they have to, because they're a different denomination. So they have to have something different about them, even though, really? Are you kidding me? There's nothing there. What are you on about? Nothing there at all. But there you go. They have to have something different. So they make up this stuff, really. They do. Oh, yeah. But that's what you get filled with. But you get tied to that. If you want to stay in this church, you do things according to the ways of this church. Right? Isn't that the situation? Isn't that what we're really told? If you start acting in a different way according to the understanding or the belief of that church, pretty quickly you start getting the attention of these people, and they start, you know, telling you, "Oi, behave yourself. Come on, get in line. What are you doing that?" Yeah, if you're in a church that doesn't speak in tongues, that doesn't believe in tongues, and you start speaking in tongues, there's going to be a lot of people that are very unhappy with you and demanding pretty quickly you stop doing that, right? So if God is asking you to speak in tongues and the church is saying no, who are you going to obey? This is now when you've got a problem, you see. Is that you're told that you need to be in church, you've developed some sort of relationship with these people, it's taken you years to develop. Now God is telling you to do something that the church is saying you shouldn't be doing. So either the church turns against you or God does. Well, God's never going to turn against you. The point of it is that in your understanding, you obey one or the other. Right. So what do? That's why when you come into kingdom, when God finally manages to sort of drag you into kingdom, gently sort of thing, you look around and you think, well, hold it. What is all this about? How comes I never knew this? Well, I was always the one, you know, from a very young Christian, I was like those Jews who were outside of, where was it? Where they were? With the giants? There? That place? There? When they said, we can take it. Don't worry, we can, yeah, with God we can take this, no problem at all. But of course I had to stay behind because everyone else said, nah, no, we're quite comfortable here. We don't really fancy the fight. We don't really want to go over there. Nah, we're quite happy here. So they had to stay with the rest. And they were incredibly frustrated during that time. Because they knew they could take it. Because they could. Because then when they eventually, as a group, decided they're going to take it, they took it. Right? I knew there was always more. I knew that what we were getting with regards to church, that wasn't it, not in any way, shape or form. Have I come to a position where I finally got it as it should be? No. Absolutely not. No. No, I'm not going to be arrogant and think that I've got it. No way, shape or form. I have not. I've got little crumbs of it and I'll share the crumbs. As I get more, I'll share more. But in the end, the reality is that, you know, there are a lot of people that are very, very comfortable in church. And that's why, you know, aren't all these people going to be saved? No. No, they're not. The reason why is because if you're in watered down Christianity, but you like watered down Christianity because it suits your life, it means you can be a Christian on a Sunday, but you don't have to on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And if people like that, if they like that, then that's what they're going to do, really. they're going to happily just continue doing that, aren't they? As soon as you say, well, there's more, you just have to walk into it. Instead of being behind the curtain, you can actually go in. No, we'd rather keep that as a mystery. Excuse? You'd rather keep that as a mystery? Why? If you can go into the holies of holies, if you can approach the throne room of God, if you can go before God, and you can give your heart's desires to him, and he will say, go on, they're yours. Why wouldn't you? This whole idea that we shouldn't dare hope just in case it doesn't work. We shouldn't dare hope, no. We are supposed to be the hope of the world. We are supposed to be the hope of the world. If we can't hope, how are they going to? Now, with regard to this joining of two people that I see for myself, I have to have tremendous hope for that. Tremendous hope. Hope that I never dreamed I could have. Look, I didn't have to have that much hope before I met her. As soon as I met her, the level of hope that I had to have rose massively. Because I met this woman. It's like, wow. Her? Are you kidding me, Lord? Her? I'm supposed to see a possibility of me and her in the future. Really? So therefore my level of hope has to go up. Because if I'm going to see this, if I'm going to trust this, if I'm going to trust God and not muck it up or flee from it, because a lot of people would do that, wouldn't they? They'll flee from the situation. Look, was it tempting? Was it tempting to just get in the car and drive down to the bottom of England to get as far away from her as I could do? Yeah. 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 Well, because facing that situation is like facing a bloody mountain, a huge mountain, and God's saying, okay, you've got to get over that. What? Really? I'm dressed in summer clothes that's got snow on the top of that, and you want me to go over that thing? No. Nah. I'm going away, Lord. There you go. Get someone else. There you go. Give it to someone else, not me. Oh, but that's the point. You've got it. You're going to say, okay, Lord, I'm going. You're going to have to sort it out because, there's a lot of obstacles ahead. You're going to have to deal with those. The snow up there, me wearing blinking Bermuda shorts is not really going to go too well together. You're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to get it to be beautiful, gorgeous sunshine up there, or provide me some trousers and some, winter wear to wear, on the way up. Well, guess what? He's going to do exactly that. He's prepared the way. We look at it and we think, oh, this is so difficult. How is this going to be possible? God says, look, it's my will. I've made sure that everything you need for the journey is there. I made sure that every obstacle is going to be got out of the way. You can see the obstacles right now, but what you can't see, I've already moved them out of the way a bit. You can get through there quite easy. Yeah? Right? That's the thing, but we look from human eyes onto a situation that is spiritual, onto a situation where God says you can, but we look through eyes that say no chance. We've got to relearn. We've got to, understand that this no chance is flesh. It's not spirit, it's flesh. It's based upon, the understanding that we've got growing up in the world and then being in a church that's put limits on us. That has basically put their understanding instead of God's understanding. Yeah? That's it. You know, I mean, in the end, this is the problem with church. This is the thing with any church. Is that you've got to come under the authority of the pastor, but you gave your life to God. That's a tricky one, isn't it, really? It is. Now, I'm coming to that situation now. And so I need God's guidance as to how to do this, because, you know, there's so much of me that's thinking, Lord, I don't really want to be going back into that. But God's saying, go on, get in there. If God's saying get in there, then I just have to trust him to deal with the obstacles, don't I? Yeah? And I just have to realise that the issues with the church, it's not my concern. Not my job to fix it. I thought for years it was, but it isn't. That's the point. It's not my job to fix it. Not in any way, shape or form. It's my job just to grow as God wants me to grow, you know, to walk as he wants me to walk, and then trust in him that he's going to use that, you know, to bless those people. To bless those people in the church. And help them to understand that there's more. There's more than just 1.5 hours on a Sunday. There's a whole life with God. Yeah? But if I try and do that in my strength, it's never going to work, right? If I try and teach these people, it's not going to work. There's only one teacher they need, that's God. He needs to teach them. That's why I say, my job is to point to him. Simple. All the time, my job is to point to him. Never to say, look at me. That's why on this channel, it's got about this channel that, you know, anything I say, if it's of any use, you thank God. Because my job is to point you to his face, not mine. Now, I wrote that even when I wasn't really serving God very well, but it was true then, and it's true now. That was one of the big bits of truth on my videos then. Yeah, yeah. Right, anyway, I'm going to leave you to it. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.